Mmusi Maimane asked the Minister of Agriculture and the leader of the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen, a very, very difficult question, but a question that also exposes a lot. These questions to members of parliament, from members of parliament to ministers, are actually quite effective. So what is this question? This explosive, controversial question, not really controversial, but revelatory question. Let me tell you what the question was. Here it is. I'm going to read it. Mr. Mmusi Maimane to ask the Minister of Agriculture, what is the total number of staff employed and or provided as ministerial support in his and the Deputy Minister's private offices? And what is the job title and annual remuneration package and highest level of qualification of each specified member of staff? So that's the question that was asked. And the answer is actually quite interesting. But before we discuss the answer and the implications thereof, what's the context? And what do we need to understand? So first things first, the Democratic Alliance, when it was campaigning, mentioned multiple times that the government cabinet was too bloated, that ministers were too expensive, and that the staff that were dedicated to ministers in and of themselves were too expensive and unnecessary. That's the first thing that you need to know. The second thing that you need to know is that government salary levels basically are divided into 16 different wage bands or levels. And you've got employees in band 1 earning an average salary of about 103,000 rands, and then employees in band 16 earning a very high salary of over 2 million rands. Some other interesting information that you may want to just keep in mind is that ministers themselves per annum make 2.6 million rands, or if you want per month, they make 224,000 rands per month. Deputy ministers make 2.2 million rands, and they make about 200,000 a month, thereabouts. So that gives you an indication. Now, if you want to know more about these salary levels, you can look here at this particular graphic that I'm putting up. You see, there are 263 employees, according to this data, who are in band 1, making 103,000. You look at band 2, there's 77,000. You look at band 3, the number of employees, there's 69,000. Then you go down to these other bands here. Band 13, very few people are in band 13. Very few people are in band 14. 7,000 in band 13, making over 1 million. 2,400 in band 14, making 1.3 million. Then you've got band 15, you've got 528 people only. Band 16, 712 people only. So you can see that, at the bottom there's lots of people, and at the top it's a very few people. But when you start getting past band, let's say from band 8, right, 9, 10, etc., these are high earning people within the government, and as you can see, they're doing relatively well. Now, what was the answer from John Steenhuisen? The answer was that there are 11 staff members employed in his office and 7 people employed in the Deputy Minister's office. And here are their titles as well as their education levels, etc. So special advisor, salary level 13 to 16, 2 posts. They're not yet appointed. No special advisors appointed. Chief of staff, salary level 14. That's extremely high. 1 person is appointed. We know that's Roman Kabank, and he has an LLB. He's making 1.4 million. Then there was a lot of controversy about this appointment, but we're not really going to talk about that in this episode, but there was. You can go look it up and see it for yourself. Private appointment and secretary, salary level 13, 1 post available, salary 1.2 million, not yet appointed. This one is relevant because John Steenhuisen tried to appoint somebody who had worked for him as his PA, and that person actually only possesses a matric, which is not in line with the department standards. Media liaison officer, salary level 13, parliamentary officer, salary level 13, community outreach officer, salary level 11, assistant appointment and administrative secretary, salary level 9, and number of posts 1. Look at all of this from secretary, liaison officer, parliamentary officer, assistant secretary, community outreach, all of these, receptionist, household aide, all of these have not yet been appointed. There's only been one appointment made by John Steenhuisen. He's attempted to get 4 people appointed, but those people have not been appointed because they do not meet the qualification requirements of that particular office. Let's look at the deputy minister's dispensation. So he has a head of office. That person is at salary level 13, 1 post. That person has a Master of Management qualification. They are already employed. Then we've got a private and appointment secretary. That person is not yet appointed. Salary level 12, 1 post, 1.1 million rands salary per annum, not yet appointed. Then the parliamentary and cabinet support has been appointed. One person has that post. They have a national diploma. Community outreach officer, it's a high salary level, but there's not yet been an appointment. Also, it's a high salary in and of itself. Receptionist, this person has been appointed. They are in possession of a grade 10. Household aide, this person is at salary level 3. There are 2 posts. That person has been appointed. They have a grade 10. So in total, there are 18 people working in this office at these various salary levels. So here are my thoughts about this whole situation. Number 1, I think it is a little bit concerning that the Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen, has not yet appointed 7 out of 8 positions. 7 out of 8. He hasn't appointed anybody, basically. And we are now 72 days into the government. No, we're not 72 days into the government of national unity, as it's called, but we are 72 days from the announcement of the cabinet. This leads to questions about whether he is actually doing ministerial work that is specifically dedicated to his office, or if he is, alternatively, it leads to questions about the value of all of these staffers. Are they necessary if a minister can spend 72 days without a team? As I said before, John has tried to staff his office, but 4 of the people that he tried to appoint were not qualified for the position. So one of them actually is working right now without actually being appointed officially, and that is his special advisor. So this is a person who used to be a member of parliament, worked in the ministry or in the committee for agriculture. I've made a video separate about that, and you can find it on my YouTube page. But she's working as a special advisor right now, Stain, and she's got no formal appointment, right? So that's still an issue. He tried to apply for a deviation from the Minister of Public Service and Administration, Mzamo Buthelezi, but it doesn't look like it's moved much. We saw that it was reported in the media. The minister said he's not going to necessarily approve that deviation. It doesn't look as if he's getting a lot of joy there. I think part of the reason why he's not getting a lot of joy in getting his appointments, even by deviation, is because of some of the things that have been happening. You know, right now, his chief of staff actually insulted the president. We saw that there were questions around whether or not they are deploying Kaders as the Democratic Alliance after having taken the ANC to court for Kader deployment, right? So, yeah, some of the things he's also said, you know, about the Speaker of Parliament, etc., those things can make people not want to help you. Remember, the Speaker of Parliament right now is coming from this particular department. She was the minister before him. So if you come and you make accusations and allegations and you really frustrate the person who was there before you, you may very well find that the bureaucracy in that administration is not necessarily going to help you. And you may also find that, you know, because this DA-ANC plus 8 coalition, you know, has rivalries in and of itself. So no one's going to really try to help him much if he's not going to comply with the basic minimum requirements. So that's the situation, right? There are 2 people working for the deputy minister who have only got a grade 10. but they're making over 17,000 a month. I mean, his household aide is making 17K a month. His receptionist is making 24.7K a month. My question to you is, are these jobs overpaid, or are they fair wages for jobs at that level? What do you think? What do you think? Overpaid, or is it fair? Let's have a conversation. I'm curious to hear what you think. The last one I want to talk about is this issue of Kader deployment. Kader deployment doesn't just happen when an ANC person appoints a comrade that they know that they've worked with a friend of theirs in politics. It doesn't have to be a Kader for the issue to arise. If you are working in a government office where you are supposed to appoint people on the basis of merit, on the basis of their passion, on the basis of their qualification and their dedication, you don't have to appoint on a partisan basis. You can make non-partisan appointments. If you say, no, I want to just appoint my friends, the people that I know, then those people, for all wants and purposes, are your cadres, right? Even if it's fighters appointing each other, it's still going to be Kader deployment. And I think that the Minister of Agriculture has to really consider his position and his appetite for wanting to employ only people that he has been working with this whole time. It is Kader deployment. You know, a government office is not a family business. It's a specific type of office. Also, let's note, and I think we won't really have much disagreement here, the Democratic Alliance has a lot of talent in its ranks. There are people there with PhDs. There are people there with master's degrees. There are people there with administration degrees of all level from a variety of universities. They recruit a lot of well-educated people. And the DA, as we know, has got 3-point-something million people who voted for it, supporters of the Democratic Alliance. It is inconceivable that within the ranks of all of those DA members, the Minister of Agriculture cannot find highly talented people who meet the criteria for his department to appoint them. I also think that there's something that we need to ask DA in general, specifically their ministers, to say, listen, you guys said that blue lights are bad. You guys said that, you know, ministers shouldn't have all of these security perks. You guys said that ministers shouldn't be getting new cars, etc., etc. You guys said that ministries have got too many members of staff. Was that just campaigning, or are you genuine to your words? Because if you are not going to uphold, when you hold ministry positions, the very same values and standards that you spoke about when you were campaigning, how are you different from the ANC, which you said you are better than? How are you different from any other political party that just makes promises and does not deliver? How are you different from any other political party that says, we are honest, we have integrity, but then does not uphold? Because integrity means doing what you said you would do, keeping your promises even when no one is looking, right? That's what they teach children about integrity. Living up to your word. You make a promise, you honor that promise. So, is this action in and of itself something that takes away from the integrity of the Democratic Alliance if the leader is not staffing people, or if the leader is using blue lights and having security and making, basically not standing up for everything? I mean, the other joke that President Ramaphosa made was that, he heard John Steenhuisen criticizing the Chinese president, but when he was in China, he was doing interviews with Bloomberg praising the Chinese government. So these questions of integrity, ideological coherence, do they matter, or is everybody just happy that we're winning rugby? I don't know. What do you think? Let's have a conversation. Till the next one. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It's free. Subscribing is free. Till the next one.